Hey, it's Mrs. Meekum. I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial video on how to use the slab roller for clay projects. So the first thing that you need to know when you're getting ready for the slab roller is to get your clay from the bag. Usually you need to ask the teacher to help cut you the right amount so we don't waste any clay. The other important thing is when you're done, the bag needs to be wrapped back up tightly with this clamp put back on it. So you're going to cut the clay, and I already have a piece in here that has been cut that I will be using to show you how to roll a slab. Okay, and if all else fails, then there's this tool. But please don't cut your own unless I show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm over here at the slab roller, and one thing you'll notice is that there are knobs on here, and there's different distances that you need to raise and lower the slab roller to. When you start rolling, generally it's going to be down about as tight as we'd want to finish slab, and so you're going to have to raise it up to start rolling your slab. The other thing to know is your clay always goes in between the two pieces of canvas. If there's a lot of loose clay laying on the canvas, it's important that you brush that off because you don't want old crusty clay rolled into your nice slab. Okay, the other important thing is keep your fingers away from the roller. You do not want to press your fingers through here. This would really do a bad, nasty job on your hands. So keep those away and be safe. So I'm going to take this knob, and there is a dial, an arrow in here for the size, for the distance that it's at. And so the higher the arrow, the skinnier the measurement is. And the lower the arrow, that means the thicker your slab will be. You usually do not roll anything smaller than 1/4 of an inch, and you want to be sure that you don't go past that 1/4 of an inch towards 1/8 of an inch, or your slab gets way too skinny, unless I've specifically told you to do an 1/8 inch slab. Usually we only do those kinds of slabs for when we're going to add details to something. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and raise this up because this is a pretty thick piece of clay. I'll probably raise it up to around 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to do that by turning these knobs, and you've got to be sure that they're the same on both sides because you don't always turn them at the same rate when you're doing that. And I think I'm pretty close. If you look closely at the lever here, and I'll take a close-up photo and put it in the video, there's a little line in there that's faint, and if you line that line up with the arrow, with the measurement that you're trying to go for, then you'll be set. In this picture you can see those arrows that I was talking about, and if you look closely you can see the line that lets you line up the height perfectly. So then once I have that in place, I'm going to put my clay closer to my roller, and I'm just going to give it I'm going to pass it through just one time. Okay, now you don't have to roll it back and forth. It's not going to flatten it anymore by going back the other way. So you want to go ahead and raise up your lever. Usually I do it up one notch at a time, depending on how wet the clay is. The other thing to know it's really important that as you roll your clay out, you're turning it. Generally, we want to get as big a distance of a slab as possible. If I just kept it like this, I'd end up with this really long, skinny slab, and I may not be able to use it for what I'm doing it for. So you want a big surface area to cut your pattern out of. So depending on what it is, what project you're doing, you will want to turn your slab back and forth, and usually you have some patterns that you're working from that you know need to fit on the slab, and so it's a good idea to have those patterns ready so that as you're working you can turn your slab accordingly. Okay, so I'm going to just keep going on that. I'm going to look at that and give it a turn because I'm trying to get as close to like a nice rectangle, wide rectangle or square shape out of my slab. Let me do another pass. So you can see, I hope you can see this, my slab is getting kind of long, so I'm going to turn it and keep going. And raise that up one notch and pass it through. Okay, so I'm about ready to do my last pass with the slab roller on this slab of clay. And I wanted you to notice what a change, that last pass, it really, really, really increases the surface area of your clay. So here's my slab right now. I'm going to turn it one more time, put the canvas over it, and then roll it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and roll it back through just so I can show you in the camera how the size is increased. You don't really have to do that. So take a look at the size of that finished slab. Okay, so that in a nutshell is how to use a slab roller. So rewatch this video if you forget what you need to do, and ask questions if you're still unsure. Okay, one other note, please do not cut out your patterns here on the canvas. That's how we get all this clay embedded in it. You need to move it to a board, a working board, and cut your pattern pieces out on a different surface. Thanks.